Hi, you're watching Interview of the Day with me, Bilkis Bahari. Maybank is the largest financial services company in Malaysia, as well as the leading banking group in Southeast Asia. Maybank now aims to become the global leader of Islamic finance by 2020. Joining me today is the head of global banking business, Maybank Islamic, Arshad Ismail. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Bilkis. It's a pleasure.
Could you share how has the journey been for Maybank to introduce the Islamic finance products in Malaysia?
Let me start by perhaps giving you an overview of how Islamic banking started in Malaysia. It's common knowledge that Islamic banking took off in 1983 in Malaysia with the establishment of the first full-fledged Islamic bank. And for 10 years or so, the first Islamic bank had a virtual monopoly of the business in the country. The second full-fledged Islamic bank was set up a few years after that, but none of the conventional banks in Malaysia were given the opportunity to participate in the Islamic finance industry in these early years. It was only in 1993 that the central bank relaxed the domestic regulations to allow conventional banks to also participate in Islamic banking. And that was when, in 1993, that Maybank ventured into Islamic banking. And after that, of course, all conventional banks started getting actively involved in Islamic banking. And the next phase in the Islamic finance evolution in Malaysia was the establishment of subsidiaries at these conventional banks. So initially, these conventional banks were operating through Islamic banking windows. As the business got bigger, the central bank decided that it would be appropriate for these Islamic banking windows to be converted into subsidiaries. So these windows started becoming subsidiaries, and Maybank's Islamic banking window was converted into a full-fledged subsidiary in 2008. And in fact, Maybank was the last of the conventional banks to convert its Islamic banking window into a full-fledged subsidiary. So this is, in a nutshell, the evolution of the industry in Malaysia.
How has the Islamic finance industry changed the landscape of banking and finance industry in Malaysia?
Islamic banking in Malaysia operates within a conventional banking framework. And in the early days, we had to make sure that all our banking products and services in the Islamic banking space could fit into the existing regulatory framework. But over the years, our key regulators, namely the Central Bank and the Securities Commission, have done a lot of work to design and develop regulations and laws that meet the specific requirements of Islamic finance.
Is Maybank working with AIFC to introduce some Islamic finance products in Kazakhstan?
At Maybank, we are always interested to see countries that are new to Islamic finance taking the initiative to develop the industry. We take a keen interest, but we are not at this point in time in a position to go beyond that. We have been observing, we at Maybank have been observing the developments in Kazakhstan vis-a-vis Islamic finance. We are always interested and we are always supportive when a country that is new to Islamic finance is seeking to establish the industry in a particular jurisdiction. And where we are able to assist, where we are able to provide or share our experience, we would certainly be more than happy to do so. And the thing about banks in Malaysia is that we have had some 30 to 40 years of experience. And along the way, of course, we have made some mistakes. At the same time, we have had some successes. And a country that is new to Islamic finance could benefit from listening to our journey. They could benefit from listening to the mistakes we made and of course they could also benefit from listening to the successes we've had when designing their own journey. So I think this is where an organization or an institution like Maybank Islamic in particular, can contribute to the development of Islamic finance in Kazakhstan.
What is your outlook on the Islamic finance industry in Central Asia?
We have been speaking to industry players in the region, not just in Kazakhstan, but in other parts of the region as well. And I'm convinced, I'm confident that Islamic finance is becoming more important and more relevant in Central Asia. And it is common knowledge that Kazakhstan wants to be the center for this region when it comes to finance in general and also Islamic finance.
We've come to the end of our episode. Thank you very much for being with us today, Arshad.